No one noticed the maid scrubbing the floor until the Alpha King stopped walking. His wolf stirred. His breath caught. Because the scent in the room did not belong to a servant, it belonged to his fate. Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the pack. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Before we dive into this story, tell me, where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I love seeing how far our little pack reaches. This is a tale of hidden identities, forbidden bonds, and a love that was stolen before it could even begin. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's jump into the life of a woman who thought she was nobody until he saw her. The stone floor was cold beneath Lily's knees, but she'd stopped feeling it years ago. She moved the brush in small, deliberate circles, watching dirty water swirl into the cracks between the stones. Her hands were raw, her back ached, and her wolf, what little remained of it, was silent. Always silent. As if it had given up on her long before she gave up on herself. Around her, the servants' quarters buzzed with anxious energy. Omegas rushed past carrying linens, trays, and baskets of herbs. Their whispers were sharp, frantic. He's here. The Alpha King, he's in the palace. Why would he come here? To the lower halls. Lily kept her head down. She'd learned long ago that curiosity was a luxury she couldn't afford. Maids didn't ask questions. Maids didn't look up. Maids certainly didn't wonder why the most powerful wolf in the realm would descend into the bowels of the palace where the Forgotten Ones lived. She dunked her brush into the bucket and scrubbed harder. Move, a sharp voice snapped. Lily flinched and shuffled to the side as another maid, Kara, one of the elder Omegas, stepped over her like she was part of the floor itself. No apology. No acknowledgement. Just the faint curl of disgust on Kara's lips as she passed. Lily was used to it. She had no rank. No family name. No wolf strong enough to be felt. She was a ghost in a world that only respected power, and she had none. The corridor suddenly fell silent. Not the comfortable quiet of evening, but the suffocating, unnatural stillness that came when a predator entered the room. Lily's hands froze mid-scrub. She didn't look up, she didn't dare, but she felt it. That crushing weight in the air. The pressure that made her lungs tighten and her pulse spike. It was primal. Ancient. The kind of presence that made every wolf in the vicinity instinctively bare their necks. The Alpha King had arrived. Footsteps echoed down the corridor. Slow. Deliberate. Each one a measured beat that made her heart pound faster. Lily squeezed her eyes shut and willed herself to disappear. To become smaller. Invisible. But then, the footsteps stopped. Right in front of her. The air shifted. Thickened. She could feel the heat of someone's gaze on the top of her head, burning through her like a brand. Don't look up. Don't look up. Don't look up. What is your name? The voice was deep. Controlled. But beneath it, she heard something else, something dangerous and confused, like a wolf circling prey it couldn't identify. Lily's throat closed. Her fingers tightened around the brush until her knuckles turned white. No one had asked her name in 3 years. Her voice cracked. She swallowed and tried again, keeping her eyes locked on the floor. Lily, your majesty. Silence. Then, softer, almost to himself, Lily. The way he said it made her skin prickle. Like he was tasting the word. Testing it. She risked a glance up, just a flicker, and immediately regretted it. He was massive. Tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair that fell just past his collar, and eyes the color of molten gold. His jaw was sharp, his expression unreadable, but his eyes were locked on her like she was the only person in the room. Like she was the only person in the world. Her breath hitched, and for one impossible, terrifying second, her wolf stirred. It was faint, so faint she almost thought she'd imagined it, but it was there. A flicker of warmth in the cold, empty space where her wolf should have been. The Alpha King's nostrils flared. His entire body went rigid. Stand, he commanded. Lily's legs trembled as she obeyed, rising to her feet with her eyes still downcast. The bucket of dirty water sloshed beside her. She was painfully aware of how small she looked next to him. How insignificant. He stepped closer. Too close. She could feel the heat radiating off him, could smell the scent of pine and rain and something darker, something that made her pulse race and her stomach twist in a way she didn't understand. Look at me. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Slowly, she lifted her gaze. His golden eyes bore into hers, searching. Desperate. And then his expression shifted, confusion, recognition, fury, all flashing across his face in the span of a heartbeat. Who are you? He whispered. Before Lily could answer, a sharp voice cut through the tension like a blade. Your Majesty. An older woman appeared at the end of the corridor, Madame Thorne, the head of the servants' staff. Her face was pale, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. Forgive the intrusion, she said, her voice tight. But you are needed in the war room. Urgent matters require your attention. The Alpha King didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on Lily, his jaw clenched so hard she thought it might crack. I said, Madame Thorne began again, more forcefully. I heard you. His voice was cold. Lethal. But finally, after what felt like an eternity, he stepped back. He didn't look away from Lily. Not even as he turned. Not even as he started walking. And just before he disappeared around the corner, he said one last thing low and dangerous, meant only for her. Stay where I can find you. Lily stood frozen long after he was gone. Her heart was still racing. Her hands were shaking. And deep inside her chest, in the place where her wolf had been dormant for so long, something was waking up. So what do you think? Why did the Alpha King react that way? And why does Lily feel like she's remembering something she never knew? Drop your theories in the comments below. I love reading them. Lily didn't sleep that night. She lay on her thin mattress in the servants' dormitory, staring at the ceiling while 20 other maids snored softly around her. The room smelled of sweat and cheap soap, but she barely noticed. Her mind was too loud. Stay where I can find you. The Alpha King's words echoed in her head like a warning. Or a promise. She couldn't tell which. Her fingers traced the edge of her worn blanket, and she tried to make sense of what had happened. Why had he looked at her like that? Like he knew her? Like she was something precious and dangerous all at once? And why had her wolf stirred? For 3 years, it had been silent. Dead, maybe. She'd assumed the weakness was just who she was. A flawed wolf. A broken omega. The lowest of the low. But when his eyes met hers, something had shifted. Something had woken. She pressed a hand to her chest, trying to feel it again, but there was nothing. Just the hollow ache she'd grown accustomed to. Maybe I imagined it. Lily. She jolted upright. Kara stood at the foot of her mattress, arms crossed, her expression twisted with irritation. Behind her, 2 other maids, Haley and Mara, watched with thinly veiled curiosity. Madame Thorne wants to see you, Kara said flatly. Now. Lily's stomach dropped. Why? Do I look like I ask questions? Kara's lip curled. Get up. Don't keep her waiting. The other maids exchanged glances as Lily scrambled to her feet, pulling on her worn shoes. Whispers followed her as she left the dormitory. What did she do? Maybe she stole something. I heard the Alpha King spoke to her. Can you imagine? Her. Lily's cheeks burned, but she kept walking. Madame Thorne's office was on the 2nd level of the servants' wing, a cramped room that smelled of parchment and lavender oil. The older woman sat behind a desk cluttered with ledgers and schedules, her sharp eyes tracking Lily's every movement as she entered. Close the door, Madame Thorne said. Lily obeyed, her hands trembling slightly. Madame Thorne leaned back in her chair, studying her in silence. The woman was in her 60s, her hair streaked with silver, her face lined with years of managing the palace staff. She was fair but strict, and Lily had always done her best to stay beneath her notice. Until now. Do you know why you're here? Madame Thorne asked. Lily shook her head. No, ma'am. The Alpha King asked about you. The words hit like a punch to the gut. He, what? After he left yesterday, he summoned me. Asked who you were. Where you came from. Madame Thorne's gaze narrowed. I told him what I know. That you've been here for 3 years. That you were brought in by the previous headmistress before she passed. That you have no family name, no pack affiliation, and no records before your arrival. Lily's mouth went dry. I don't understand. Why would he care about? I don't know. Madame Thorne's voice was clipped. But I'll tell you this, girl. Whatever caught his attention, it's dangerous. Alpha Kings don't concern themselves with maids unless there's a reason. And reasons like that? They rarely end well for people like us. Lily's heart pounded. What do I do? Madame Thorne sighed, her expression softening just slightly. Keep your head down. Do your work. And if he speaks to you again, answer honestly and briefly. Don't offer more than he asks for. Don't make yourself memorable. Too late for that, Lily thought. Yes, ma'am. Madame Thorne waved her hand dismissively. Go. You're assigned to the East Wing today. The guest suites need to be prepared for the council members arriving tonight. Lily nodded and turned to leave. But as her hand touched the door, Madame Thorne spoke again, quieter this time. Lily. She paused. Be careful. The East Wing was where the palace's most important guests stayed. High-ranking alphas, diplomats, visiting nobles, all of them passed through these halls. The suites were lavish, with thick carpets, silk curtains, and furniture carved from ancient oak. Lily moved through the rooms like a shadow, changing linens, dusting shelves, lighting candles. The work was familiar. Soothing, even. Until she entered the last suite. The moment she stepped inside, her wolf stirred again. It was stronger this time, a pull low in her belly, a warmth spreading through her chest. Her breath caught, and she froze in the doorway, scanning the room. It was empty. But the scent. Pine. Rain. Something wild. Her pulse quickened. She recognized it instantly. The Alpha King had been here. She shouldn't have lingered. She should have finished her work and left. But something drew her forward, deeper into the room. Her feet moved on their own, carrying her toward the large window that overlooked the northern forest. The view was breathtaking. Endless trees stretched toward the horizon, their leaves shimmering in the afternoon light. Somewhere out there, packs ran wild. Somewhere out there, wolves were free. Lily pressed a hand to the glass, her reflection staring back at her, pale skin, dark blonde hair tied back in a braid, gray eyes that had forgotten how to hope. Who am I? The question rose unbidden, sharp and painful. She'd never questioned it before. She'd accepted her place. Accepted her silence. But now something was breaking open inside her, and she didn't know how to stop it. You shouldn't be in here. Lily spun around, her heart leaping into her throat. A man stood in the doorway. Not the Alpha King, but close. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with sandy brown hair and sharp green eyes. His presence was commanding, though not as overwhelming as the king's. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. I was just cleaning, Lily stammered, backing toward the window. I'll leave. Relax, he said, holding up a hand. I'm not going to report you. She hesitated, her instinct screaming at her to run. He studied her for a long moment, then tilted his head. You're the maid. The one Roman's been asking about. Lily's breath hitched. Roman. The Alpha King's name. I don't know what you mean, she said carefully. The man smiled, sharp and knowing. Sure you don't. He crossed the room slowly, his movements deliberate, predatory. When he was close enough, he leaned in slightly, inhaling. His eyes widened. Interesting, he murmured. You don't smell like an Omega. Lily's blood turned to ice. What What do I smell like? He didn't answer. Instead, he reached out and grabbed her wrist, not roughly, but firmly enough that she couldn't pull away. Who are you really? He asked, his voice low and dangerous. I'm no one, Lily whispered. I'm just a maid. Please. The door slammed open. Roman filled the doorway, his golden eyes blazing with fury. Get your hands off her. The man released Lily instantly, stepping back with his hands raised. But he was grinning. Easy, Roman. I was just introducing myself. Leave. Now. The man, clearly someone important, someone who wasn't afraid of the Alpha King, laughed softly. But he obeyed, brushing past Roman without another word. The door clicked shut. And then it was just the two of them. Roman's chest heaved as he stared at her, his jaw clenched, his fists tight at his sides. He looked like he was barely holding himself back. Are you hurt? His voice was rough. Lily shook her head quickly. No. I'm fine. He didn't look convinced. He crossed the room in 3 long strides, stopping just inches from her. Close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Why do you smell like that? He asked quietly. Like what? Like you're mine. The words hung in the air between them, heavy and impossible. Lily's knees nearly buckled. I don't understand, she whispered. Roman's hand lifted slowly, hesitating, before his fingers brushed against her cheek. The touch was featherlight, but it sent a shockwave through her entire body. His eyes softened. Neither do I. And for the first time in 3 years. Lily felt like someone saw her. Who is that man? And why does Roman feel this impossible pull to a maid he's never met? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're loving this story so far, share it with someone who needs a good werewolf romance in their life. Let's grow this pack together. Roman's hand lingered on her cheek for a heartbeat too long. Then he pulled back abruptly, as if the contact burned him. His jaw tightened, and he turned away, running a hand through his dark hair. The muscle in his shoulder twitched with barely restrained tension. This is impossible, he muttered, more to himself than to her. Lily stood frozen, her skin still tingling where he'd touched her. Her wolf was no longer silent. It was howling inside her, clawing to get closer to him. The sensation was overwhelming. Terrifying. What's happening to me? Your Majesty, she began. Roman. His voice was sharp as he turned back to face her. When we're alone, you call me Roman. Her breath caught. Alpha Kings didn't ask to be called by their given names. Especially not by servants. I don't understand what's happening, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. His golden eyes searched hers, and she saw something raw in them. Confusion. Hunger. Fear. Neither do I, he said. But I'm going to find out. Before she could respond, footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. Roman's head snapped toward the door, his body going rigid. Hide, he commanded. What? Now. Lily didn't question him. She darted behind the heavy silk curtains just as the door opened. Through the gap in the fabric, she could see Roman straightening, his expression shifting into the cold mask of an Alpha King. All traces of vulnerability vanished. Your Majesty. A woman's voice, smooth, cultured, dripping with false sweetness. I've been looking everywhere for you. Lily peeked through the curtain. The woman who entered was stunning. She wore a deep blue gown that hugged her curves, her auburn hair cascading in perfect waves down her back. Everything about her screamed nobility, from the way she moved to the glittering diamonds at her throat. Lady Evelyn. Roman's tone was polite but cold. I wasn't aware we had a meeting scheduled. Evelyn laughed softly, closing the door behind her. We don't. But I thought we might steal a moment before the council gathering tonight. She moved closer to him, her fingers trailing along the back of a chair. It's been too long since we've had time alone. Lily's stomach twisted. I'm occupied, Roman said flatly. With what? This empty room? Evelyn's smile didn't reach her eyes. She circled him slowly, predatory. You've been distant lately, Roman. Ever since you returned from the northern border. Is something troubling you? Nothing that concerns you, doesn't it? Evelyn stopped directly in front of him, tilting her head. We've known each other since we were children. Our families have been allies for generations. And everyone knows that eventually, you'll need to choose a queen. Roman's expression remained impassive. My choice of queen is not up for discussion. Of course not. Evelyn's hand lifted, her fingers ghosting along his chest. But surely you must consider. Roman caught her wrist. Gently, but firmly. Don't. Something flickered in Evelyn's eyes, rage quickly masked. She pulled her hand back with a tight smile. Forgive me. I overstepped. She smoothed her gown. I'll see you tonight at the council meeting. She swept from the room, but not before her gaze flickered toward the curtains where Lily hid. For one horrible second, Lily was certain she'd been spotted. But Evelyn said nothing. The door clicked shut. Silence. Lily waited, her heart hammering until Roman spoke. She's gone. Lily emerged from behind the curtains, her legs shaky. Who is that? No one who matters. Roman's voice was tight. He moved to the window, staring out at the forest. Lady Evelyn has been persistent in her pursuit. Her family wants an alliance through marriage. And you don't. He turned to look at her, and the intensity in his gaze made her breath catch. I can't explain it, he said slowly. But from the moment I saw you yesterday, everything else feels wrong. Like my wolf is rejecting every path except the one that leads to you. Lily's hands trembled. That's impossible. I'm nobody. I'm just... Don't. He crossed the room in 2 strides, standing close enough that she could feel the heat radiating off him. Don't call yourself that. But it's true. I have no family. No pack. No rank. I'm nothing. You're mine. The words came out as a growl, possessive and absolute. Lily's eyes widened. What? Roman looked as shocked as she felt. He stepped back, pressing his palms against his temples. This doesn't make sense, he muttered. The mate bond is instantaneous. I would have known the moment I met you. But I feel it now, I know it, and yet something is wrong. Something is missing. Mate bond? Lily's world tilted. No, that's... I can't be your mate. That's not possible. Why not? Because I'm broken. The words burst out of her. My wolf is barely there. I can't shift. I have no scent, everyone says so. I'm weak and useless and... Stop. Roman's hands cupped her face, forcing her to meet his eyes. Listen to me, he said, his voice low and fierce. I don't know what's been done to you or why. But I promise you I will find out. And whoever made you believe you were nothing will answer to me. Tears burned in Lily's eyes. No one had ever looked at her like this. Like she mattered. Like she was precious. Why do you care? She whispered. Because every instinct I have is screaming that you belong to me. That I belong to you. His thumb brushed away a tear that slipped down her cheek. And I've never ignored my instincts. A sharp knock at the door made them both freeze. Your Majesty. A male voice, clipped and professional. The council awaits. Roman's jaw clenched. He dropped his hands from her face, stepping back reluctantly. I have to go, he said. But this conversation isn't over. What do I do? He paused at the door, looking back at her. Stay in the servants' quarters tonight. Don't go anywhere alone. And if anyone makes you uncomfortable, you find me immediately. Understood? Lily nodded. Roman's expression softened slightly. I'll come for you tomorrow. We're going to figure this out. Then he was gone. Lily sank onto the edge of the bed, her mind reeling. Mate bond. I'm his mate. It was impossible. Wasn't it? She made it back to the servants' quarters just as the dinner bell rang. The dormitory was chaotic, maids rushing to change clothes, gossiping about the council members who'd arrived, speculating about the Alpha King's mood. Lily slipped into the crowd unnoticed, grateful for the anonymity. But as she reached her mattress, she found someone waiting for her. Kara stood with her arms crossed, her expression cold. "Madame Thorne wants you in the kitchens," she said. "Now." Lily frowned. "But I already finished my—" Did I stutter? The other maids had gone quiet, watching. Lily swallowed her protest and nodded. "Yes, I'm going." Kara's smile was sharp. "Good girl." The kitchens were in the basement level, a maze of stone corridors and storage rooms. Lily had been down here 100 times, but never this late. Never when it was this empty. Her footsteps echoed as she descended the stairs. "Hello," she called out. "Madame Thorne." No answer. A chill crept down her spine. Something felt wrong. She turned to leave, and came face to face with 3 figures blocking the stairwell. Kara, Haley, Mara. Their expressions were identical, cold, calculating, cruel. "Going somewhere?" Kara asked. Lily's heart began to race. I thought Madame Thorne." "She's not here," Haley said, stepping closer. "It's just us." "We wanted to have a little chat," Mara added, her smile vicious. "About your sudden rise in importance." Lily backed up slowly. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't play stupid." Kara's voice was venomous. "The Alpha King speaks to you. Asks about you. Protects you. Meanwhile, the rest of us scrub floors and get treated like dirt. So tell us, what makes you so special?" "Nothing. I swear I don't." "Liar." Kara lunged forward, shoving Lily hard. She stumbled backward, her hips slamming into a storage shelf. Jars rattled. "Please," Lily gasped. "I didn't do anything." "That's the problem," Haley hissed. "You don't have to do anything. You just exist, and suddenly you're the center of attention." They advanced on her, backing her into a corner. Lily's wolf surged inside her, stronger than before, angry and protective. For the first time in 3 years, she felt it trying to surface. "Fight back," it urged. "Defend yourself." But before she could move, a growl echoed through the kitchen. Low, deadly, absolutely feral. All 4 women froze. Roman emerged from the shadows at the far end of the kitchen, his eyes glowing molten gold. His wolf was right at the surface, barely contained. And he looked ready to kill. "Touch her again," he said softly, each word dripping with lethal promise, "and I'll make sure you never use those hands again." Kara, Haley, and Mara went white. They dropped into immediate submission, necks bared, eyes down. "Your Majesty," Kara stammered. "We were just—" "Get out." They scrambled up the stairs, practically tripping over each other in their haste to escape. The kitchen fell silent. Roman crossed to Lily in 3 strides, his hands gentle as they framed her face, tilting her head to check for injuries. "Are you hurt?" His voice was rough with barely suppressed rage. "No. I'm okay." "You're not okay. They attacked you." "How did you know I was here?" His jaw tightened. "I felt it. Your fear. Your pain. It hit me in the middle of the council meeting like a knife to the chest." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "I will always know when you need me." Lily's breath shuddered. "This is really happening, isn't it?" "The bond." "Yes." Roman's forehead pressed against hers. "And tomorrow, we're going to find out why it feels incomplete. Why you were hidden. Why someone wanted you to forget." "Forget what?" His eyes met hers, dark with determination and something that looked like grief. "Everything," he whispered. "I think someone made you forget everything." "Oh my God, you guys." The bond is real, but something was done to Lily to hide it. What do you think happened? And who would want to erase an Alpha King's mate? Drop your wildest theories in the comments. I'm reading every single one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. This story is about to get intense. Hit that button. Roman didn't leave her side that night. He escorted Lily back to the servants' quarters personally, his presence alone enough to send every maid scrambling out of sight. When they reached the dormitory entrance, he stopped, his hand still resting protectively on the small of her back. "I'm stationing guards nearby," he said quietly. "No one will touch you again." Lily glanced around nervously. The other maids were watching from doorways and windows, their expressions ranging from shock to envy to outright hostility. "You're making it worse," she whispered. "They already hate me. Now they'll—" "I don't care." His voice was iron. "Your safety matters more than their opinions. But I have to live with them. Work with them." Roman's jaw clenched. He looked like he wanted to argue, but finally he exhaled slowly. "Then tomorrow you move." "What?" "I'm reassigning you. You'll work in the royal wing. Close to me." His eyes held hers. "And tomorrow night, you're coming with me to meet someone who might have answers." "Who?" "My mother." Lily's eyes widened. The former queen had retired to the northern estate years ago, living in seclusion after the death of Roman's father. She was said to be a powerful seer, a woman who understood the old magic better than anyone alive. "Why your mother?" Roman's expression darkened. "Because she's the only one I trust with this. And because 20 years ago, she told me something I didn't understand." He paused. "She said I would find my mate in the shadows, and that claiming her would either save the kingdom or destroy it." A chill ran down Lily's spine. Destroy it? It was a prophecy. My mother has visions, glimpses of possible futures. She saw something connected to my mate bond, something dangerous enough that she's been warning me about it my entire life. His hand cupped her cheek. "But I don't care what the prophecy says. I'm not losing you." The certainty in his voice made her heart ache. "I'm scared," she admitted. "So am I." His thumb brushed her cheekbone. "But we face it together." The next morning, Lily woke to find her few belongings already packed. A young woman in royal livery stood beside her mattress, one of the Alpha King's personal attendants. The other maids watched in stunned silence as the attendant helped Lily to her feet. "His Majesty has arranged new quarters for you," the woman said professionally. "Please come with me." Kara's face was twisted with barely concealed rage as Lily was escorted from the dormitory. The whispers followed her down the corridor. "Who does she think she is? The king's whore, probably. Give it a week. He'll get bored." Lily kept her head high, even as shame burned in her chest. She wasn't Roman's whore. She wasn't anything to him except a mystery he was trying to solve. "Except you feel it too," her wolf whispered. "The pull. The bond." The attendant led her through parts of the palace Lily had only ever cleaned, marble hallways with soaring ceilings, tapestries depicting ancient battles, windows that overlooked manicured gardens. Everything was beautiful and intimidating in equal measure. Finally, they stopped at a carved wooden door. "These are your new quarters," the attendant said, pushing the door open. Lily stepped inside and froze. It wasn't a servant's room. It was a suite. A sitting area with plush furniture, a bedroom with an actual bed, not a mattress on the floor, but a real bed with silk sheets. There was a private bathroom with a copper tub and a wardrobe already filled with simple but quality dresses. This is too much," Lily breathed. The attendant smiled slightly. "His Majesty was very specific about your accommodations. He wants you comfortable." She gestured to a bell pull by the door. "If you need anything, ring. Someone will come immediately." Then she was gone, leaving Lily alone in luxury she'd never dreamed of. She sank onto the edge of the bed, her hands trembling. This is real. This is actually happening. She spent the morning in a daze, trying on the dresses, running her fingers over the soft fabrics, touching everything like it might disappear. But by afternoon, restlessness set in. She couldn't just sit here. She needed to understand what was happening to her. Lily slipped out of her room and wandered the halls, her new dress, a soft gray that brought out her eyes, making her feel less like a ghost. Servants nodded to her respectfully now instead of looking through her. Word had spread fast about the Alpha King's interest. She found herself drawn to the palace library, a massive room filled with floor-to-ceiling shelves. The scent of old paper and leather calmed her nerves. Looking for something? Lily spun around. The man from yesterday stood near the doorway, the one who'd grabbed her wrist before Roman intervened. Up close, she could see the resemblance. The same strong jaw, the same powerful build. But his eyes were green instead of gold, and his smile was sharper. "I'm Liam," he said, approaching slowly. "Roman's cousin. And his beta." "I remember you," Lily said carefully, taking a step back. Liam's smile widened. "Relax. I'm not going to hurt you. I was testing something yesterday. Roman's been acting strange, and I needed to see why." He leaned against a bookshelf. "Turns out, you're the reason." "I don't know what you mean." "Don't you?" His eyes gleamed with curiosity. "You're his mate. Anyone with half a nose can smell it now. The bond is strengthening, which means whatever was blocking it is wearing off." Lily's heart raced. "Blocking it? Someone used magic on you. Old magic. The kind that can hide scents, suppress wolves, erase memories." Liam tilted his head. "The question is, why?" "I don't know. I don't remember anything before 3 years ago. I just woke up in a healer's cottage with no memory and no wolf." "Convenient." "It's not convenient. It's terrifying." Liam's expression softened slightly. "I didn't mean it like that. I meant convenient for whoever wanted you hidden." He pushed off the bookshelf. "But you're not hidden anymore. And that's going to draw attention. Dangerous attention." "From who?" "That's what we need to figure out." He moved closer, his voice dropping. "Roman's taking you to see the former queen tonight, but there's something you should know first." "That prophecy his mother had? It's not just about you being his mate. It's about what happens when he claims you." Lily's mouth went dry. "What happens?" "According to the vision, the moment Roman completes the mate bond with you, one of two things will occur. Either you'll awaken a power strong enough to unite all the packs under his rule," he paused, "or you'll trigger a curse that will kill him." The room tilted. "No," Lily whispered. "That can't be right. It's why he's never looked for his mate. Why he's kept every woman at arm's length. He's been trying to avoid the prophecy." Liam's gaze was steady. "But now he's found you, and he's not letting go. Even if it kills him." Tears burned in Lily's eyes. "Then we don't complete the bond. We stay apart. I'll leave." "You think he'd let you go?" Liam laughed bitterly. "The bond is already there, Lily. Fighting it will drive you both mad. The only way forward is through." "Then what do I do?" "You figure out who you really are. Because I guarantee you, you're not just some random maid. Someone powerful wanted you hidden for a reason. Find out why, and maybe we can stop the curse before it activates." Before Lily could respond, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Roman appeared in the doorway, his expression darkening when he saw Liam standing close to Lily. "What are you doing here?" Roman's voice was dangerous. "Introducing myself properly," Liam said smoothly. "And giving your mate some context. I told you to stay away from her. And I told you that hiding information from her is stupid." Liam met Roman's glare without flinching. "She deserves to know what she's walking into." "That's not your decision to make." "No, it's hers." Liam turned to Lily. "Isn't it?" Both men looked at her, waiting. Lily's hands clenched into fists. "He's right. I need to know everything. All of it. No more secrets." Roman's jaw worked, tension radiating off him in waves. Finally, he nodded. "Tonight," he said. "After we see my mother. I'll tell you everything." Liam clapped him on the shoulder. "Good choice, cousin." He walked past Roman, pausing at the door. "Oh, and Roman? Lady Evelyn has been asking questions about your new attendant. You might want to handle that before it becomes a problem." Then he was gone. Roman closed his eyes, exhaling slowly. When he opened them again, they were fixed on Lily. "I'm sorry," he said, "for keeping things from you. I was trying to protect you, but—" "You can't protect me from the truth," Lily said softly. "Not if we're going to survive this." He crossed the room and pulled her into his arms. The embrace was fierce, desperate. Lily melted into him, breathing in his scent, feeling her wolf purr with contentment. "I've waited my whole life for you," Roman murmured against her hair. "And now that I've found you, the universe is threatening to take you away." "Then we fight," Lily said, pulling back to meet his eyes. Together. His hand cupped her face, his thumb tracing her lower lip. The touch sent electricity through her entire body. "You're so much stronger than you know," he whispered. "I don't feel strong. You survived 3 years believing you were nothing. You endured isolation and cruelty. And through all of it, your wolf never fully died. That's not weakness, Lily. That's survival." His words cracked something open inside her. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I'm so tired of being afraid," she admitted. "I know." He wiped her tears gently. "But you're not alone anymore. Whatever comes next, we face it together." He leaned down slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. Their lips met softly at first, a tentative exploration. But then the bond flared between them, hot and urgent, and the kiss deepened. Lily's hands fisted in his shirt as his arms tightened around her, pulling her closer. Her wolf sang with joy, recognizing its mate, demanding more. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. "We should stop," Roman said, though his eyes said the opposite. "Why?" "Because if we don't, I won't be able to." His voice was rough with restraint. "And we need to complete the bond properly. With answers. With understanding. Not in stolen moments." Lily nodded, though her body protested. "When do we leave for your mother's?" "At sunset. Can you ride?" I don't know." Roman smiled slightly. "Then you'll ride with me." They left as the sun began to sink below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Roman had arranged for 2 horses, a massive black stallion for himself and a gentle mare that remained saddled but riderless. True to his word, he pulled Lily up in front of him on his stallion, his arms caging her protectively. "Hold on," he murmured in her ear. Then they were flying. The stallion moved like liquid shadow, eating up the miles between the palace and the northern estate. The forest blurred past them, and Lily felt something wild and free awaken in her chest. "This," her wolf whispered. "This is what we were meant for." Roman's arms tightened around her as they rode, his body a solid presence at her back. She felt safe here. Protected. Wanted. After an hour, they emerged from the forest into a clearing. A stone manor stood nestled against the mountainside, its windows glowing with warm light. Gardens surrounded it, wild and overgrown but beautiful. Roman dismounted first, then lifted Lily down with ease. His hands lingered on her waist. "She already knows we're here," he said quietly. "She's been expecting us." The front door opened. A woman stood silhouetted in the doorway, tall and regal, with silver hair and eyes the same molten gold as Roman's. She wore simple robes, but the power radiating from her was unmistakable. The former queen. Roman's mother. Her gaze locked on Lily, and her expression shifted through a dozen emotions in seconds: shock, recognition, grief, and finally, fear. "By the goddess," she whispered. "It's you." Roman tensed. "Mother? What?" "The prophecy," the former queen breathed. "It's worse than I thought." She looked at Roman, and Lily saw tears in those golden eyes. "She's not just your mate, Roman. She's the lost princess of the Shadow Pack." Her voice cracked. "And if the old families find out she's alive, they'll come for her. They'll finish what they started 20 years ago." The world stopped. Lily stared at the former queen, unable to process the words. "Princess. Shadow Pack. 20 years ago. That's impossible," Lily whispered. But the former queen shook her head sadly. "No, child. It's the truth. You're Lady Liliana of House Shadowmere." She stepped forward, her hand reaching for Lily's face. "And you were supposed to die the night your entire pack was slaughtered." Wait. Lily is a princess. From a pack that was wiped out. Who saved her? Who hid her? And what does this mean for Roman? Drop your reactions below, I need to hear your theories. Lily's legs gave out. Roman caught her before she hit the ground, his arms wrapping around her waist as he lowered them both to the stone steps. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The words echoed in her head like a death knell. Princess. Slaughtered. Supposed to die. Breathe, Roman commanded softly, his hand rubbing circles on her back. Just breathe, Lily. But how could she breathe when her entire existence had just been rewritten? The former queen, Margaret, Lily remembered distantly, knelt in front of her, those golden eyes filled with decades of grief. I'm sorry, Margaret whispered. I should have prepared you better. But I needed to see you with my own eyes to be certain. And now, she touched Lily's cheek gently. Now I see your father in your eyes. Your mother in your smile. You're the image of them both. I don't understand. Lily's voice was broken. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember them. That was the point of the memory spell, Margaret said. Someone wanted to erase who you were. To keep you hidden and powerless. Why? Roman's voice was hard. Why would someone hide her identity? Margaret rose slowly, her expression grave. Come inside. This story requires context. And wine. The manor's interior was warm and inviting, nothing like the cold grandeur of the palace. A fire crackled in the stone hearth, and the scent of herbs and old magic permeated the air. Margaret led them to a sitting room filled with books and artifacts, pouring 3 glasses of deep red wine before settling into a high-backed chair. Roman sat beside Lily on the couch, his hand never leaving hers. 20 years ago, Margaret began. The Shadow Pack was the most powerful pack in the Northern Territories. They were ancient, older than any of the current royal lines. Their bloodline carried magic that the rest of us had long since lost. Healing. Sight. The ability to walk between worlds. Lily's hand trembled in Roman's grip. Your father, Alpha Jareth, was a good man. A fair ruler. But his power made others nervous. Especially the Council of Elders, the old families who'd ruled before the Shadow Pack rose to prominence. Margaret's eyes darkened. They feared what would happen if the Shadow Pack united with another powerful house. If that magic was passed down through an alliance marriage. My mother, Lily whispered. Margaret nodded. Your mother, Elena, was a seer. One of the most powerful in recorded history. When she married your father, their combined bloodlines created something unprecedented. She looked directly at Lily. They created you. Roman's jaw clenched. The prophecy. It's about her bloodline. Yes. Margaret took a long sip of wine. Elena had a vision the night you were born. She saw 2 futures, one where you would unite all the packs under a single rule, bringing an era of peace and prosperity. And another where your power would be twisted, used to destroy everything. The curse, Roman said flatly. The one that could kill me. Margaret's silence was confirmation enough. Lily pulled her hand from Roman's, standing abruptly. So I'm a weapon. That's what you're saying. I'm either salvation or destruction, and no one knows which. You're not a weapon, Roman growled, standing with her. You're a person. A person who could kill you. Lily's voice cracked. Don't you see? This is why someone hid me. Why they erased my memories and suppressed my wolf. They were trying to protect everyone from whatever I might become. Or they were trying to control you, Margaret said quietly. To keep you weak until they decided how to use you. The room fell silent. Lily wrapped her arms around herself, her mind reeling. What happened to my family? To the Shadow Pack? Margaret's expression turned sorrowful. The Council of Elders orchestrated a coup. They spread rumors that your father was planning to overthrow the current Alpha King, Roman's father. They turned the other packs against him, made him look like a tyrant. She paused. And then they attacked during the winter solstice, when the Shadow Pack was at its most vulnerable. They burned the territory. Killed everyone. Everyone. Lily's voice was barely audible. Your parents died defending the pack house. Your older brother, Theo, was cut down trying to evacuate the young ones. By morning, the shadow pack was nothing but ash and blood. Margaret's hands clenched into fists. But they never found your body. Because someone saved me, Lily whispered, the pieces clicking into place. Someone hid me. Yes. And whoever it was used incredibly powerful magic to do it. The memory spell. The scent suppression. The weakening of your wolf. All of it designed to keep you invisible. Margaret leaned forward. I've spent 20 years trying to find you. Roman's father ordered a search, but it was half-hearted. He was afraid of what finding you would mean. And by the time I pieced together that you might still be alive, you'd vanished completely. Until 3 years ago, Roman said. When she appeared in the palace as a maid. Margaret nodded slowly. Which means whoever was protecting you either died or decided it was time to bring you back into play. Lily's head spun. But why bring me back as a servant? Why not reveal who I am? Perhaps they couldn't. Or perhaps they were waiting for the right moment. Margaret's gaze moved between them. But there's something else. Something I saw in my vision that I never told you, Roman. Roman's body went rigid. What? The mate bond between you and Liliana isn't random. It was prophesied before either of you were born. Margaret's voice was heavy. Your father and Jareth were best friends. Before the council turned them against each other, they made a pact. That their children would unite the packs through marriage. Through a mate bond. Lily's breath caught. Our bond was arranged? Not arranged. Fated. Margaret stood, moving to a bookshelf and pulling out an ancient leather journal. Elena wrote about it. She had a vision of her daughter mating with the future Alpha King. She saw your souls intertwined across lifetimes. She opened the journal, showing them pages of elegant script. She also saw the danger. That if the bond was completed before you came into your full power, the curse would activate. What curse? Roman demanded. Stop speaking in riddles, Mother. Margaret's eyes were haunted. The council didn't just want to destroy the Shadow Pack. They wanted to ensure that if any heir survived, they could never reclaim their power. So they hired a dark witch to place a curse on the bloodline. She looked at Lily. If you complete the mate bond before breaking the curse, Roman's life force will drain into you. He'll die, and you'll live with the guilt forever. The room tilted. Lily stumbled backward, ball rising in her throat. No, we can't. There has to be a way to break it, Roman said, his voice deadly calm. Tell me how. That's the problem. Margaret's voice was barely above a whisper. Elena's vision ends before she sees the solution. All I know is that you must awaken Lily's full power and confront the one who cast the curse. But Elena died before she could tell anyone who the witch was. Then we find them, Roman said simply. We hunt down every dark witch in the territories until... It's been 20 years, Margaret interrupted. The witch could be dead. Or hidden. Or protected by the council. She moved to Lily, taking her hands. I'm sorry, child. I know this isn't what you wanted to hear. Lily's eyes burned with unshed tears. She looked at Roman, at this man who'd claimed her as his mate, who'd protected her and fought for her. And now she was his death sentence. I have to leave, she said, her voice hollow. I have to go far away where the bond can't. No, Roman's voice was absolute. You'll die if we stay together. I'll die without you. He crossed to her, his hands framing her face. Don't you understand? The bond is already there. Separating won't stop it. It'll just make us both suffer while we slowly lose our minds. But... No, his forehead pressed against hers. We find another way. We break the curse. We hunt down whoever did this and make them undo it. His voice dropped to a fierce whisper. I didn't wait my entire life for you just to lose you before we've even begun. Tears spilled down Lily's cheeks. I'm so scared. So am I. His thumb wiped away her tears. But I'd rather face death with you than live without you. Margaret cleared her throat softly. There is one option. A dangerous one. Both of them turned to her. What? Roman demanded. We could try to trace the magic. The spell that was used to hide Lily, it would have required an immense amount of power and a personal connection to her. Blood magic, most likely. Margaret's expression was grim. If we can find the source of that magic, it might lead us to whoever orchestrated the massacre, and possibly to the witch who cast the curse. How do we trace it? Lily asked. We'd need to perform a ritual. One that would temporarily lift the memory spell and allow you to see the night you were hidden. To remember who saved you. Margaret hesitated. But it's painful. And dangerous. Reliving trauma can break a person's mind. I'll do it, Lily said immediately. Lily, Roman began. I'll do it, she repeated, her voice stronger. If there's even a chance we can break this curse, I have to try. I won't let you die because I was too afraid to remember. Roman looked like he wanted to argue, but finally he nodded. Then we do it together. I'll be with you the entire time. Margaret's eyes softened. Your father would have liked him, she said to Lily. Jareth always said that a true alpha protects what he loves, even when the cost is his own life. Lily's chest ached. I wish I remembered him. You will. Soon. Margaret moved to a cabinet, pulling out candles, herbs, and a silver bowl. But we need to prepare. The ritual requires specific components, and it can only be performed during a new moon. She glanced at the window. Which gives us 3 days. 3 days, Roman repeated. And in the meantime? In the meantime, we keep Lily hidden. If the council learns she's alive and with you, they'll move against us immediately. They can't afford for the prophecy to be fulfilled. They're already suspicious, Roman said. Lady Evelyn has been asking questions. And there were the maids who attacked Lily. Wait. Lily's eyes widened. Could the maids have been sent by someone? Could they be working for the council? Margaret's expression darkened. It's possible. The council has spies everywhere. If they've realized who you are, she looked at Roman. You need to return to the palace tonight. Act normal. Let them think you've lost interest in the girl. Absolutely not. Roman's voice was hard. I'm not leaving her here unprotected. She'll be safer here than at the palace. I can shield this manor with magic strong enough to keep out an army. Margaret's gaze was steady. But you need to maintain appearances. If you disappear with her, they'll know something is wrong. Mother. She's right, Lily said quietly. If we're going to do this, we need time. And we need them to think I'm not important. Roman looked like he'd been struck. I can't just abandon you. You're not abandoning me. You're protecting me. Lily took his hands. 3 days. I'll stay here with your mother, we'll prepare for the ritual, and you'll keep the council distracted. Then we break the curse and figure out how to stop them from ever threatening us again. The muscle in Roman's jaw ticked. Every instinct he had was clearly screaming at him to refuse. But finally, reluctantly, he nodded. 3 days, he said. But if anything feels wrong, you contact me immediately. Bond or no bond, I will feel it if you're in danger. I promise. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. His face buried in her hair, breathing her in like he was trying to memorize her scent. I love you, he whispered. I know it's too soon to say it. I know we barely know each other. But I've loved you since the moment I saw you on your knees scrubbing that floor. Since my wolf recognized yours. Since. Lily pulled back just enough to kiss him. It was desperate and sweet and filled with everything they couldn't say. The bond flared between them, hot and electric, demanding completion. But they both pulled back before it could go too far. I love you too, Lily whispered against his lips. Which is why you need to leave. Before neither of us can. Roman's eyes blazed with possession and longing. But he stepped back, his hands falling away from her reluctantly. 3 days, he said again. Then he turned and walked out the door before he could change his mind. Lily watched through the window as he mounted his stallion and disappeared into the forest, taking a piece of her heart with him. Margaret's hand rested gently on her shoulder. He'll be all right, she said softly. And so will you. Will we? Lily turned to face her. Even if we break the curse, the council will still want me dead. They'll still see me as a threat. Margaret's smile was fierce. Then we make sure you're a threat they can't destroy. We awaken your power, we unite the packs, and we show them that the shadow bloodline isn't extinct. Her golden eyes glowed. We show them that the princess they tried to murder survived. And she's coming for her crown. Guys, this revelation just changed everything. Lily is royalty. The bond is prophesied. And there's a curse that will kill Roman if they complete it. How are they going to get out of this? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. I'm literally on the edge of my seat with you. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button so you don't miss the next part. The 3 days felt like an eternity. Lily spent her mornings with Margaret, learning about the Shadow Pack, her heritage. Margaret showed her paintings of her parents, her father with his dark hair and strong jawline, her mother with silver eyes that seemed to see through time itself. She learned about her brother Theo, who'd been training to be the pack's next enforcer. About the territory that had once been lush and thriving, now nothing but scorched earth and ghosts. Every story made the hole in her chest grow larger. These were her people, her family, and she couldn't remember a single moment with them. The afternoons were spent preparing for the ritual. Margaret taught her meditation techniques to strengthen her mind, potions to drink that would help her wolf surface, and breathing exercises to keep her grounded when the memories came flooding back. It will hurt, Margaret warned on the second day. Memory spells aren't meant to be broken. They're designed to protect the mind by burying trauma so deep it can't be accessed. When we shatter that protection, everything will come back at once. I can handle it, Lily said, though her hands trembled. Margaret's expression was gentle. You're stronger than you know, child. Your mother would be proud. At night, Lily lay awake in the guest room, her hand pressed to her chest where the bond thrummed like a second heartbeat. She could feel Roman, even across the distance. His worry, his restlessness, his love, and she sent her own feelings back to him. I'm here. I'm safe. I'm coming back to you. On the third day, everything went wrong. Lily woke to the sound of shattering glass. She bolted upright, her heart pounding. The morning sun was just beginning to rise, painting the room in shades of gray and gold. But something felt off. The air was too still, too heavy. She threw on a robe and ran into the hallway. Margaret, she called. No answer. Lily's wolf stirred uneasily, a low growl building in her chest. She moved quickly through the manor, checking rooms, until she reached Margaret's study. The door was open. Margaret stood in the center of the room, her back rigid, her hands raised. And facing her, a woman. She was tall and elegant, with raven-black hair and eyes like winter frost. She wore dark robes that seemed to absorb the light around her, and the air around her crackled with power. Dark magic. You should have stayed hidden, Your Majesty, the woman said, her voice smooth as silk. It would have been kinder. Lily's blood turned to ice. Who are you? The woman's smile was cold. My name is Evelyn. Lady Evelyn, to be precise. Though I suppose we've already met, you just didn't know who I really was. Lady Evelyn. The woman from the palace. The one who'd been pursuing Roman. But that didn't make sense. Why would? You're the witch, Margaret breathed, her face pale. You cast the curse. Evelyn's laugh was like breaking glass. Clever. Yes, I'm the one who bound the Alpha King's fate to his little lost princess. Though I must admit, I didn't expect it to take 20 years for the bond to surface. Someone did an excellent job hiding you. Lily's mind raced. Why? Why would you curse us? Because the council paid me handsomely to ensure that if any shadow heir survived, they could never threaten our power structure again. Evelyn circled them slowly, like a predator toying with prey. Your bloodline was too dangerous, too powerful. So I made sure that even if you lived, Claiming your birthright would cost you everything. The mate bond, Lily whispered. You twisted it. Made it into a weapon. Exactly. If Roman completes the bond with you, his life force will drain into your awakening power. He'll die, and you'll be left with the guilt and the magic. Magic you'll be too broken to use. Evelyn's smile widened. It was rather elegant, I thought. Margaret's hands glowed with golden light. You won't touch her. Oh, I don't need to touch her. Evelyn raised her hand, and dark tendrils of magic shot forward. Margaret threw up a shield, but the impact sent her staggering backward. The protective wards around the manor shattered like glass, the sound echoing through the forest. No, Lily screamed. Evelyn turned her cold gaze to Lily. Did you really think you could hide here? That 3 days would be enough to break a curse I spent years crafting. She stepped closer. The council knows you're alive, princess. And they've decided you're too dangerous to let live. Even weak and powerless, you're a symbol. A rallying point for anyone who might challenge their authority. So they sent you to finish the job, Lily said, her voice shaking. They sent me to give you a choice. Evelyn's expression was almost pitying. Die now, quickly and painlessly. Or run. Live the rest of your short life knowing that the man you love will die the moment you try to claim him. Either way, the shadow bloodline ends with you. Lily's wolf surged inside her, stronger than it had ever been. Fight. Defend. Survive. I choose neither, Lily said. She lunged. It was instinct more than skill. Her body moved before her brain caught up, her hand reaching for a silver letter opener on Margaret's desk. She slashed at Evelyn's face, and Evelyn caught her wrist with inhuman speed. Brave, Evelyn murmured. Stupid, but brave. She twisted Lily's arm, and bone cracked. Lily screamed. Margaret attacked with a blast of golden light, but Evelyn deflected it with her free hand, sending Margaret flying into the bookshelf. Books rained down around her as she slumped to the floor, dazed. Disappointing, Evelyn said, still holding Lily's broken wrist. I expected more from the former queen. Lily's vision swam with pain, but through the bond, she felt something else. Roman. He was coming. She could feel his fury, his terror, his desperation. He'd felt her pain across the miles, and he was racing toward her. No, she thought desperately. Stay away. It's a trap. But she knew he wouldn't. Couldn't. The bond wouldn't let him. Evelyn's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. There it is. You're calling him, aren't you? Through the bond. She released Lily's wrist, letting her crumple to the floor. Perfect. I was hoping he'd come. It's so much more satisfying to make you watch him die. You're insane, Lily gasped. I'm practical. Evelyn moved to the window, gazing out at the forest. The council wants you dead, yes. But I want Roman. I've wanted him for years. And once he's broken by your death, once the bond is severed, he'll have no choice but to accept me as his mate. His queen. Horror washed over Lily. He'll never. He will. Because I'll be all he has left. Evelyn turned back, her smile vicious. Grief makes people do desperate things, princess. And I'm very patient. The sound of hoofbeats thundered in the distance. Evelyn's smile widened. Showtime. Roman burst through the door like an avenging god. His eyes were fully gold, his wolf at the surface, barely contained. When he saw Lily on the floor, her wrist bent at an unnatural angle, something feral and murderous took over his expression. What did you do? His voice was barely human. Roman, don't, Lily tried to warn him. But he was already moving. He shifted mid-leap, not fully, but enough. Claws extended from his fingers, fangs descended from his mouth. He was a weapon of pure fury. Evelyn didn't flinch. She raised her hand, and Roman froze midair. His body hung suspended, muscles straining against invisible bonds. His eyes went wide with shock and rage. Did you really think it would be that easy? Evelyn asked, walking toward him slowly. I've been planning this for 2 decades. I know every move you'll make. Let him go. Lily forced herself to her feet, cradling her broken wrist. Or what? Evelyn glanced at her. You'll attack me with your non-existent power? You're barely there, Wolf. She laughed. You're nothing, princess. A broken little girl playing dress-up in a dead family's legacy. Something inside Lily snapped. The words echoed in her head, nothing broken, just like they had for 3 years. Every maid who'd walked past her. Every superior who'd dismissed her. Every moment she'd believed she was worthless. But she wasn't worthless. She was the daughter of Alpha Jareth and the seer Elena. She was the last of the Shadow bloodline. She was Roman's mate. And she was done being afraid. You're wrong, Lily said quietly. Power surged through her, not from outside, but from within. From the place where her wolf had been sleeping. From the memories that had been locked away. From the bloodline that ran through her veins. Her eyes began to glow silver. Evelyn's smile faltered. What? You said the memory spell was meant to keep me weak, Lily said, her voice echoing with something ancient and powerful. But it wasn't just suppressing my memories. It was containing my magic. The room began to shake. And you just broke it. Light exploded from Lily's body, pure, white, searing. Evelyn threw up a shield, but the light shattered it like paper. Roman dropped to the ground, the spell holding him broken. Lily's broken wrist healed instantly, bone knitting back together. Her wolf surged forward, not weak, not silent, but roaring. And with it came the memories. Flashes of faces. Voices. Love. Liliana, my precious girl. You're stronger than any storm. Protect your brother, little one. He thinks he's invincible. The magic in your blood is a gift. Never let anyone make you fear it. Her parents. Her family. Her life. And beneath it all, the night of the massacre. Fire. Screaming. Her mother pressing a glowing hand to her forehead. Forget, my darling. Forget until it's safe to remember. Forget until you're strong enough to survive what comes next. A portal opening. Being shoved through. Landing in darkness. Her mother's final words. Find the Alpha King's son. He will protect you. He is your fate. Lily gasped as the memories settled into place, and with them came power. Real, devastating, earth-shaking power. She looked at Evelyn, and the witch actually took a step back. You made a mistake, Lily said. You assumed I was weak because I'd been hidden. But I wasn't hidden to protect the world from me. Her eyes blazed silver. I was hidden to protect me until I was ready. Ready for what? Evelyn's voice shook. Lily smiled. To end you. She raised her hand, and silver light coalesced into a spear. Evelyn screamed and unleashed a wave of dark magic. But Roman was faster. He was in front of Lily in an instant, his own power rising to meet Evelyn's. Gold and black collided in an explosion of force that shattered the windows. When the light cleared, Evelyn was on her knees, blood trickling from her nose. The curse, she gasped. If you complete the bond, it will still. You're going to break it, Roman growled. Now. I can't. It's blood magic. Only death can break. Lily's silver spear pressed against Evelyn's throat. Then I guess we know what happens next, Lily said coldly. Evelyn's eyes went wide. Wait. There's another way. If you kill me, the curse transfers to the next blood relative. But if I willingly break it, it ends completely. Why would you do that? Roman demanded. Because I'd rather live. Evelyn's mask of confidence had crumbled. Please. I'll break the curse. I'll testify against the council. I'll tell you everything. Just don't kill me. Lily and Roman exchanged glances. If you're lying, Roman began. I'm not. I swear on my magic. Evelyn's hands shook as she pressed them to the floor. I'll break it right now. Dark symbols began to glow beneath her palms. She chanted in a language Lily didn't recognize, her voice rising and falling in a hypnotic rhythm. The bond between Lily and Roman suddenly flared, hot and painful. Lily gasped, feeling something dark and oily being ripped away from it. Roman caught her as her knees buckled, holding her steady. The chanting reached a crescendo, then stopped. Evelyn slumped forward, exhausted. It's done. The curse is broken. Roman's eyes narrowed. How do we know you're telling the truth? Test it, Evelyn said weakly. Complete the bond. If I'm lying, you'll die. If I'm not, she laughed bitterly. Then you get your happily ever after, and I get to rot in whatever prison you throw me in. Margaret, who'd recovered enough to stand, moved to Lily's side. She placed her hand over Lily's heart, her eyes glowing gold. After a moment, she gasped. It's gone, she breathed. The curse. I can't feel it anymore. Roman's arms tightened around Lily. Are you sure? Yes. Margaret's eyes filled with tears. You're free. Both of you. But Lily wasn't celebrating. She looked down at Evelyn, this woman who'd orchestrated so much pain and felt only emptiness. Why? She asked. Why serve the council? Why help them murder an entire pack? Evelyn looked up, and for a moment, there was something almost human in her eyes. Because they promised me power. Status. A place in the New Order. Her voice cracked. I was nobody. Just another witch scraping by on the edges of society. And they offered me everything I'd ever wanted. And all it cost was innocent lives, Lily said flatly. Yes. Evelyn didn't look away. I'm a monster. I know that. But I'm also your only witness against the council. Without me, they'll deny everything. Claim you're a fraud. And they'll come for you again. Roman's growl was dangerous. Then you'll testify. And then you'll spend the rest of your miserable life paying for what you did. Evelyn nodded wearily. Fair enough. They bound Evelyn in silver chains, the only thing that could hold a witch, and locked her in the manor's cellar. Margaret reinforced the wards, making escape impossible. As the sun set, Lily stood in the garden, staring at the mountains in the distance. Roman found her there. Hey, he said softly, his hand finding hers. Hey, how are you feeling? I don't know. Lily's voice was hollow. I remember everything now. My family. My pack. The night they died. It's all there, and she turned to face him, tears streaming down her face. I can't save them, Roman. I'm too late. They're gone, and I can't bring them back. Roman pulled her into his arms, letting her sob against his chest. I'm so sorry, he murmured into her hair. I'm so sorry you had to go through this alone. I'm not alone anymore, Lily whispered. I have you. Always. They stood there as the stars came out, holding each other in the ruins of the past. But tomorrow, they would fight for the future. Tomorrow, they would take down the council. Tomorrow, Lily would reclaim her crown. I'm not okay after writing this. The curse is broken, but at what cost? Lily has her memories back, including all the trauma. And now they have to face the council. What do you think happens next? Comment below. And if this story is giving you all the feels, please share it and subscribe. We're in the endgame now. They returned to the palace at dawn. Roman rode with Lily in his arms, her body pressed against his chest, while Liam and a contingent of the royal guard followed behind with Evelyn bound and hooded. Margaret had stayed at the manor, promising to gather evidence and old records that might help their case against the council. As they approached the palace gates, Lily felt the weight of eyes on her. Servants whispered. Guards stared. Word had clearly spread that the Alpha King had left urgently 3 days ago and was now returning with the mysterious maid who'd captured his attention. But this time, Lily didn't shrink from their gazes. She sat tall, her silver eyes meeting theirs with quiet confidence. She was no longer the invisible girl scrubbing floors. She was Liliana of House Shadowmere, and she had nothing to hide. Roman's arm tightened around her waist as they entered the courtyard. Are you ready for this? He murmured in her ear. No, she admitted. But we don't have a choice. He smiled slightly. That's my girl. They dismounted, and immediately a steward rushed forward, a thin, nervous man named Carl who managed the palace affairs. "Your Majesty," he stammered, bowing low. "The council has been concerned about your absence. They've demanded an emergency session. Today, within the hour." Roman's expression didn't change. "Perfect. Inform them I'll be there. And that I'm bringing a guest." Carl's eyes flickered to Lily, then quickly away. "Of course, Your Majesty. Should I announce her as Princess Liliana of House Shadowmere?" Roman said clearly, his voice carrying across the courtyard. "Last surviving heir of the Shadow Pack and my intended mate." Silence fell like a guillotine. Every person within earshot froze. Jaws dropped. Eyes went wide with shock. Lily felt her cheeks burn, but she kept her chin high. Carl looked like he might faint. Yes, Your Majesty. I'll inform the council immediately." As he scurried away, Roman turned to Liam. "Take Evelyn to the dungeons. Maximum security. No one sees her except us." "Understood. Understood." Liam's expression was grim. "You know the council won't go down without a fight." "I'm counting on it." Roman's smile was sharp. "Let them try." Roman's quarters were on the top floor of the palace, a suite of rooms that overlooked the entire territory. Lily had never been inside, and as he led her through the doors, she couldn't help but stare. It was beautiful but austere. A massive bed dominated one room, a war table covered in maps another. Everything was functional, designed for a king who spent more time strategizing than relaxing. Roman closed the door behind them and immediately pulled her into his arms. "Are you sure about this?" he asked, his forehead pressed to hers. "Once we walk into that council room, there's no going back. They'll see you as a threat. They'll try to destroy you." "They already did that once," Lily said. "I survived. I'll survive again. Not alone. Never alone." His hands cupped her face. "Whatever happens in there, we're in this together." "Together," she echoed. He kissed her then, deep and claiming and full of promise. The bond between them sang with joy, no longer tainted by the curse. Lily felt his love, his determination, his unwavering commitment to her. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. "We should probably get ready," Lily said reluctantly. Roman nodded, though his eyes were still dark with desire. "My mother sent clothes for you. They're in the wardrobe." Lily opened the carved wooden wardrobe and gasped. Inside hung a gown unlike anything she'd ever seen. It was midnight blue, the color of the Shadow Pack, with silver embroidery that caught the light like stars. The fabric was soft as water, clearly made by master craftsmen. And beside it hung a circlet. Simple but elegant, wrought in silver with a single moonstone at the center. "It was your mother's," Roman said quietly. "Margaret had it hidden all these years. She wanted you to have it when the time came." Tears pricked Lily's eyes. She reached out to touch the circlet, feeling the faint hum of magic in the metal. She wore this on the day she became Alpha's mate. "My father told me once that she was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen, aside from my own mother." Roman's expression softened. "He regretted what happened to your family until the day he died. The council manipulated him, made him believe Jareth was a threat. By the time he realized the truth, it was too late." Lily turned to face him. "Your father, did he know I survived?" "He suspected. He ordered searches, but the council always interfered. They claimed it was a waste of resources to search for a dead child." Roman's jaw clenched. "I think he died knowing he'd failed to protect you. That guilt ate at him." "It wasn't his fault," Lily said softly. "The council is responsible. And we're going to make sure everyone knows it." An hour later, Lily stood before the council chamber doors, her heart pounding. She wore her mother's gown, the circlet resting on her brow. Roman had dressed in full royal regalia, black and gold, with the king's seal on his chest. Together, they looked like what they were, rulers preparing for war. Liam stood beside them, along with 4 of Roman's most trusted guards. "They're waiting inside," Liam said. "All 12 council members. And they brought their own guards." "How many?" Roman asked. 20. Maybe more." Roman's smile was cold. "Let them bring 100. It won't save them." He took Lily's hand, squeezing once. "Ready?" She squeezed back. "Ready." The doors opened. The council chamber was a circular room with a domed ceiling painted with constellations. 12 seats arranged in a semicircle, each occupied by an elder wolf, men and women with silver hair and eyes that had seen too much. Behind them stood their guards, hands on weapons. At the center of the semicircle sat the head of the council, Alpha Zane, a man in his 70s with a face like carved granite and eyes like ice. "Your Majesty," Zane said, his voice flat. "You've kept us waiting." "My apologies," Roman said, not sounding apologetic at all. "I've been dealing with matters of treason and murder." A ripple of tension moved through the room. Zane's eyes flickered to Lily. "And who is this?" "Allow me to introduce Princess Liliana of House Shadowmere," Roman said, his voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. "Daughter of Alpha Jareth and Seer Elena, last surviving heir of the Shadow Pack. And my fated mate." The council erupted. "Impossible. The Shadow Line is extinct. This is a trick." Zane raised his hand and silence fell. His expression remained carefully neutral. "Bold claims, Your Majesty. Do you have proof?" "I have her blood," Roman said, "which any seer can verify carries the shadow magic. I have the testimony of my mother, who knew Jareth and Elena personally. And I have this." He nodded to Liam, who stepped forward with a leather-bound journal. "Elena's diary," Roman continued. "Hidden for 20 years. It documents everything, including the prophecy about Liliana and me. Including her visions of what the council would do to destroy her family." Zane's face remained impassive, but Lily saw the flicker of fear in his eyes. "The diary of a dead woman proves nothing," he said. "Then perhaps you'd like to hear from someone who was actually there." Roman's smile was vicious. "Bring her in." The side door opened. Evelyn was dragged in by 2 guards, still in chains. Her face was bruised from the fight, her clothes torn. But her eyes were clear and cold. The council members shifted uncomfortably. "Lady Evelyn?" One of the elders, a woman named Kimberly, looked confused. "What is the meaning of this?" "Lady Evelyn is a dark witch," Roman said bluntly. 20 years ago, you hired her to place a curse on the Shadow bloodline, to ensure that if any heir survived, they could never reclaim their power or their throne." "That's absurd," Zane began. "I'll testify," Evelyn interrupted, her voice ringing clear. "I'll tell them everything. How you paid me in gold and promises. How you gave me the information I needed to target Liliana specifically. How you ordered the massacre and covered it up." The chamber exploded into chaos. "She's lying. This is a setup. Your Majesty, you can't possibly believe." "Enough." Roman's voice cracked like thunder, and his power filled the room, pure alpha dominance that forced every wolf to their knees. Even the council members dropped, their bodies responding to the ancient hierarchy. Only Lily remained standing beside him, her own power rising to meet his. Silver and gold light intertwined, filling the chamber. "You will listen," Roman said, his voice deadly calm. "And then you will answer for your crimes." Zane struggled to his feet, his face red with fury and humiliation. "You have no right." "I have every right." Roman's eyes blazed. "I am the Alpha King, and you have committed treason against the crown. Against the pacts. Against every law we hold sacred. We did what was necessary." Zane's mask finally cracked. The Shadow Pack was too powerful. They would have overthrown the natural order. Would have made themselves gods among wolves. "So you slaughtered them," Lily said, her voice cutting through the room like a blade. "Men, women, children. You burned them alive and called it justice." "It was survival." Zane's voice rose. Your family's magic was an abomination. You think you can just walk back in here and claim what was taken from you? You're a ghost. A mistake that should have stayed dead. Lily took a step forward, and the silver light around her intensified. I am not a ghost, she said quietly. I am the reckoning you've been running from for 20 years. She raised her hand, and the moonstone in her circlet began to glow. My mother left me a gift in her diary. A spell. A way to show the truth to anyone who witnesses it. The light exploded outward, enveloping the entire chamber. And suddenly, everyone could see. The vision hit like a tidal wave. They were in the shadow territory on the night of the massacre. Fire everywhere. Screaming. Wolves running, trying to escape, being cut down by soldiers. Jareth fighting desperately, protecting the fleeing pack members. Elena standing on the steps of the pack house, her hands glowing with power as she tried to shield the children. The council members watching from the tree line. Zane giving the order. Burn it all. Leave no survivors. Soldiers pouring in. Jareth falling, a sword through his chest. Elena screaming, holding her dying mate. And then a little girl. No more than 4 years old, with silver eyes and dark blonde hair. Liliana. Elena pressing her glowing hand to the child's forehead. Creating the portal. Whispering the spell that would hide her, protect her, keep her alive. The portal closing just as the soldiers reached them. Elena standing alone, her face serene, as they killed her. The vision ended. The council chamber was silent. Several of the elders were crying. Others looked sick. Even the guards looked shaken. Zane stood frozen, his face gray. That's not we didn't, his voice was hollow. You did, Lily said. And now everyone knows it. Roman's voice was ice. The Council of Elders is hereby dissolved. You are all under arrest for conspiracy, murder, and treason against the crown. Your lands, titles, and holdings are forfeit. You can't do this. Zane lunged forward and collapsed as silver light wrapped around him like chains. Lily stood with her hand raised, power coursing through her. Yes, she said softly. He can. One by one, the council members were bound and taken away. Some went quietly, broken by what they'd seen. Others screamed and fought, but it made no difference. It was over. As the last of them were dragged from the chamber, Lily's legs finally gave out. Roman caught her, lowering them both to the floor. She was shaking, tears streaming down her face. It's done, Roman murmured, holding her close. It's over. You did it. They killed them, Lily sobbed. They killed my family, and they never even felt guilty. They thought they were right. I know. I know. Roman's own voice was thick with emotion. But they'll pay for it now. Justice will be served. Lily clung to him, letting herself break in the safety of his arms. For 20 years, she'd been lost. Hidden. Forgotten. But now she was found. And she was ready to become who she was always meant to be. This part just destroyed me. The truth is out. The council is arrested. But Lily is carrying so much pain. How is she going to heal from this? And what comes next now that she's reclaimed her identity? Tell me your thoughts. The next 3 weeks were a whirlwind. News of the council's arrest spread through the territories like wildfire. Some packs rejoiced. They'd long suspected corruption but never had proof. Others were skeptical, demanding more evidence, unwilling to believe that the elders they'd trusted for decades were murderers. Roman worked tirelessly, holding tribunals, presenting evidence, allowing survivors from other packs who'd been silenced by the council to finally tell their stories. Evelyn, true to her word, testified in exchange for a life sentence instead of execution. Her testimony was damning, names, dates, payments, all meticulously recorded in her grimoires. And through it all, Lily stood beside Roman as his equal. She attended every meeting, every trial. She spoke to the packs about what had been done to her family, about the corruption that had festered for too long. And slowly, painfully, the tide began to turn. The Alpha King wasn't just demanding justice, he was offering a new future. One where packs were united by choice, not fear. Where ancient bloodlines were honored, not destroyed. Where power came from strength and integrity, not manipulation. And beside him stood a princess returned from the dead, wielding magic not seen in generations. Together, they were impossible to ignore. But not everyone was ready to accept the new order. It was supposed to be a celebration. Roman had declared a gathering of all the major packs, a summit to officially dissolve the corrupt council and establish a new governing body. Representatives from across the territories had come to the palace, filling the great hall with hundreds of wolves. Lily stood on the dais beside Roman, wearing another of her mother's gowns, this one silver like moonlight, with the shadow pack crest embroidered on the bodice. The circlet rested on her brow, and her hand was clasped in Roman's. The room buzzed with conversation, anticipation, hope. Roman raised his hand, and silence fell. "Brothers and sisters," he began, his voice carrying to every corner of the hall. "We gather today not as separate packs, but as one people. For too long, we've been divided by fear and lies. For too long, those in power have used that division to control us." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. "The Council of Elders is no more," Roman continued. "They will stand trial for their crimes, and justice will be served. But we're not here to dwell on the past. We're here to build a future. A future where every pack has a voice. Where strength is measured not by cruelty, but by honor." Cheers erupted. Roman smiled, squeezing Lily's hand. "And I'm honored to introduce the woman who will help lead us into that future. Princess Liliana of House Shadowmere." The doors to the great hall exploded inward. 20 wolves poured in, all bearing weapons. And leading them was a man Lily had never seen before, older, with silver hair and scars crisscrossing his face. But the fury in his eyes was unmistakable. "Traitor," he roared, pointing at Roman. "You dare dissolve the council? You dare elevate this pretender above the laws that have governed us for centuries?" Roman's expression turned to stone. "Alpha Dane, you are ordered to attend peacefully or not at all." "Peacefully?" Dane laughed bitterly. "While you parade around a girl who claims to be shadow royalty. While you tear down everything our ancestors built." "Your ancestors built nothing but oppression," Lily said, her voice ringing clear. "And I'm not a pretender. I'm exactly who I say I am." "Prove it," Dane snarled. "Prove you're more than some witch's illusion. Some con artist Roman's fucking to secure his throne." Gasps echoed through the hall. Several wolves moved to restrain Dane, but Roman held up a hand. "Stand down," he commanded. Then he looked at Dane, his expression icy. "You want proof? Fine." He turned to Lily. "Show them." Lily's heart pounded. She knew what he was asking. To fully reveal her power. To prove beyond any doubt that she was who she claimed to be. And to do that, she'd have to let go of the last of her fear. She took a deep breath and stepped forward, releasing Roman's hand. "My name is Liliana Elena Shadowmere," she said, her voice steady. "Daughter of Alpha Jareth and Seer Elena. I am the last of my bloodline, and this is my inheritance." She closed her eyes and reached deep inside herself, past the pain, past the trauma, past the 3 years of believing she was nothing, to the place where her magic lived. It rose like a silver tide, flooding through her veins. Her eyes snapped open, glowing pure white. The circlet on her head blazed with light, and the air around her began to shimmer. "The Shadow Pack was known for 3 gifts," she said, and her voice echoed with power, her own voice layered with her mother's, her grandmother's, all the women who'd come before her. "Healing, sight, and the ability to walk between worlds." She raised her hands, and the great hall transformed. The walls faded, replaced by towering trees and silver mist. The floor became soft earth. And above them, instead of the ceiling, was a night sky filled with more stars than should be possible. They were standing in the shadow territory as it had been. Whole. Alive. Beautiful. Wolves gasped, reaching out to touch the trees, the flowers, the impossible beauty around them. "This is what you destroyed," Lily said, and now her voice was sharp with grief. "This is what the council took from the world." She gestured and the scene shifted. Now they were watching the massacre. Not as a distant vision, but as if they were there. Soldiers attacking. Families running. Children screaming. Many in the crowd turned away, unable to watch. Others wept openly. Dane had gone pale, his weapon lowering. "This is the truth," Lily said. "This is what was done in the name of protecting the natural order. My family wasn't a threat. They were guardians. Healers. Teachers." The scene shifted again. Now they were looking at Elena in her prime, standing in a circle of sick wolves, her hands glowing as she healed them one by one. Jareth negotiating peace between two warring packs, his voice calm and wise. Young Theo teaching pups how to defend themselves without resorting to cruelty. "This is my legacy," Lily said. "Not power for its own sake, but power in service." The council feared us because we believed strength should protect the weak, not crush them. She lowered her hands, and the great hall returned to normal. But every person there had been changed by what they'd seen. Lily turned to Dane. "So yes, Alpha Dane. I am exactly who I claim to be. And if you still think I'm a pretender, then step forward and challenge me. Test my power against yours." Dane stared at her, and slowly, so slowly, he dropped to one knee. "Forgive me, princess," he said, his voice hoarse. I didn't know. The council told us you were a myth. A propaganda tool Roman was using to consolidate power. And now you know the truth," Roman said, moving to stand beside Lily again. His hand found hers. "The question is, what will you do with it?" Dane looked up, and there were tears in his weathered eyes. "I will serve. If you'll have me." One by one, the wolves who'd come with him dropped to their knees as well. And then others in the crowd began kneeling too. Not out of fear, but out of respect. Out of hope. Within minutes, the entire hall was kneeling, hundreds of wolves offering their loyalty to the Alpha King and his mate. Roman's hand tightened on Lily's. Through the bond, she felt his pride, his love, his absolute certainty that they could do this. That they could lead these people into a better future. Lily looked out at the sea of faces and felt something settle in her chest. This was why she'd survived. This was why her mother had hidden her, protected her, kept her alive against all odds. Not just to reclaim her throne, but to heal her people. The celebration that followed lasted into the early hours of the morning. Packs that had been enemies for generations sat together, sharing food and stories. Children ran through the halls, laughing. And in the center of it all, Roman and Lily danced, not the formal, stiff dance of royalty, but something wild and joyful. When they finally escaped to Roman's quarters, both were breathless and grinning. "Did you see Alpha Dane's face?" Roman laughed, pulling Lily into his arms. "I thought he was going to faint when you transformed the hall." "I was terrified I'd mess it up," Lily admitted, pressing her face against his chest. "That magic, it's so much stronger than I expected. Because you're not holding back anymore." Roman tilted her chin up, his golden eyes soft. "You're not hiding. You're not afraid. You're everything you were always meant to be." "I'm still figuring it out," she said. "Being a princess. A leader. Your mate. Then we'll figure it out together." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, the tip of her nose. "We have time now. No curse. No council hunting you. Just us." "Just us," Lily echoed, and the words felt like a miracle. Roman's expression grew serious. "There's one more thing we need to do. To make this official." Lily's heart began to race. "The mate bond." "Yes." His hands cupped her face. "I've waited as long as I can. The bond is there, calling to us, demanding completion. But I won't push you. If you need more time." "I don't," Lily interrupted. "I want this. I want you. I have since the moment you stopped walking and looked at me like I mattered. Roman's eyes blazed gold. You've always mattered. From the first breath to the last, you will always matter. He kissed her then, deep and claiming, and full of barely restrained hunger. The bond between them flared, hot and urgent, pulling them closer. Lily's hands fisted in his shirt as his arms tightened around her. This kiss was different from the others. This was a promise, a claiming, a forever. Roman lifted her effortlessly, carrying her to the bed. He laid her down gently, his body covering hers, his weight comforting and perfect. "Are you sure?" he murmured against her lips. "Yes," she breathed. "Complete the bond, Roman. Make me yours." His eyes glowed brighter. "You've been mine since the moment I saw you. This just makes it official." He kissed down her throat, finding the place where her neck met her shoulder, the traditional mating mark. His canines elongated, and he looked up at her one last time, giving her a chance to stop this. She tilted her head, baring her throat in complete trust. And he bit down. The pain was sharp but brief, immediately replaced by pleasure. The bond exploded between them, no longer just a thread but a living, breathing connection. Lily could feel everything Roman felt, his love, his desire, his absolute devotion to her. And he could feel her joy, her relief, her soul-deep certainty that this was right. When he pulled back, his eyes were wet. "I love you," he said hoarsely. "My mate. My queen. My everything." "I love you too," Lily whispered. She pulled him down into another kiss, and this time there was no hesitation. No fear. Just two souls finally, completely, irrevocably joined. Later, as they lay tangled together in the moonlight streaming through the windows, Lily traced the mark she'd left on Roman's shoulder, the mate mark that mirrored his own. "What happens now?" she asked softly. "Now we rebuild," Roman said, his fingers playing with her hair. "We establish the new council, one with representatives from every pack, not just the powerful ones. We restore the shadow territory and make it a symbol of what we're trying to create." "A home," Lily said wistfully. "Your home. Our home." Roman kissed the top of her head. "I want our children to grow up there, to run through those forests and learn about their heritage." Lily's breath caught. "Children. Eventually. When you're ready." He smiled. "But I'm looking forward to a lot of practice in the meantime." She laughed, swatting his chest. "Insufferable." "Yours," he corrected, grinning. "Mine," she agreed. And as she drifted off to sleep in the arms of her mate, Lily finally felt something she hadn't felt in 20 years. Peace. The next morning, as dawn broke over the palace, Roman and Lily stood on the balcony overlooking the territories. News had already spread. The Alpha King had claimed his mate. The lost princess had returned. A new era had begun. "There will be challenges," Roman said, his arm around her waist. "Some packs will resist the changes. Some will test us." "Let them," Lily said, her silver eyes glinting with determination. "We've survived worse." "That we have." Roman turned to face her fully. "Are you ready for this?" "Really ready." Lily looked out at the sunrise painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. She thought of her parents, her brother, her pack, all the souls who'd been lost. And she thought of the future they could build in their memory. "I'm ready," she said. "Let's change the world." Roman smiled, fierce and proud and full of love. "Then let's begin." "We did it. The mate bond is complete. The council is defeated. And Lily has fully claimed her power." 6 months later, the Shadow Territory had been reborn. Where ash and ruin had once stood, life now flourished. The pack house had been rebuilt, not as a replica of what had been, but as something new. A blend of old and new, honoring the past while embracing the future. Its walls were carved with the history of the Shadow Pack, ensuring that what happened would never be forgotten. And surrounding it, the forest had returned. Lily stood at the edge of the tree line, her hand resting on the bark of an ancient oak. Her magic had helped heal the land, coaxing life back into soil that had been poisoned by violence. Now, wildflowers bloomed where blood had been spilled. Birds sang in branches that had been charred. The stream that had run dry now flowed clear and cold. "It's beautiful," a voice said behind her. Lily turned to find Margaret approaching, a soft smile on her weathered face. The former queen visited often now, helping to train Lily in the deeper aspects of her magic, teaching her the old ways that had nearly been lost. "Thank you for helping me restore it," Lily said. "I couldn't have done this alone." "You underestimate yourself, child. The magic came from you. I merely guided it." Margaret joined her, looking out at the restored territory. "Your mother would be so proud." Elena dreamed of a day when the Shadowlands would be whole again, when her people could come home. "They're starting to," Lily said softly. It was true. In the months since the council's fall, wolves who'd fled the massacre or been scattered across the territories had begun returning. Some were elderly, having lived in hiding for 20 years. Others were young, children of survivors who'd been told stories of the Shadow Pack, but never thought they'd see it again. They came in ones and twos at first, tentative and fearful. But as word spread that the territory was safe, that Princess Liliana herself was welcoming them home, the trickle became a stream. The Shadow Pack was being reborn. "How many now?" Margaret asked. 43, Lily replied. "And more arrive every week. We're setting up housing in the old pack grounds. Roman has sent supplies and builders from the palace." "Speaking of my son, where is he?" Lily's smile widened. "Where do you think?" Roman was exactly where Lily expected him to be, in the training yard, sparring with Liam. Both men were shirtless, their bodies gleaming with sweat as they circled each other. A crowd of younger wolves watched from the sidelines, studying every move. Roman had insisted on training the new Shadow Pack members personally, teaching them defensive techniques and pack tactics. "You're getting slow, cousin," Liam taunted, dodging a strike. "I'm going easy on you," Roman shot back, sweeping Liam's legs out from under him. Liam hit the ground hard, then burst out laughing. All right. I yield." Roman helped him up, grinning. Then his eyes found Lily standing at the edge of the yard, and his entire expression softened. He crossed to her immediately, ignoring the knowing looks from the trainees. "Hello, beautiful," he murmured, pulling her close despite being sweaty. "Hello, yourself." Lily wrinkled her nose. "You need a bath. Join me later." She laughed, pushing at his chest. "We have the council meeting in an hour, remember?" Roman groaned. "Don't remind me." 3 hours of listening to alphas argue about trade routes and territorial boundaries. "The price of leadership," Margaret said dryly, approaching them. "Though I notice you're much more patient with it now." "That's because I have a reason to get through the boring parts," Roman said, his arm around Lily's waist. "Knowing she'll be waiting for me after makes even the worst meetings bearable." Lily felt her cheeks warm. 6 months together, and he could still make her blush with a look. "Well, before you two get distracted," Margaret said with a knowing smile, "there's someone here to see you. Both of you." "Who?" Lily asked. Margaret's expression grew serious. "Evelyn." They'd moved Evelyn from the palace dungeons to a secure facility on the northern border, a place where she could serve her sentence under magical wards that prevented her from accessing her power. She was allowed visitors once a month, and she'd requested to see Lily. Roman had wanted to refuse, but Lily insisted. "She helped us," Lily had argued. "Without her testimony, we never would have convicted the council." "She also cursed us and tried to kill you," Roman had countered. "I know, but I need to hear what she has to say." So now they sat across from Evelyn in a small, warded room. The witch looked different, thinner, her hair gray instead of raven black, her eyes hollow. Life imprisonment was taking its toll. "Thank you for coming," Evelyn said quietly. "I wasn't sure you would." "What do you want?" Roman asked, his tone cold. "To apologize. Properly." Evelyn's gaze fixed on Lily. I've had 6 months to think about what I did, to really understand the magnitude of it. And I know that sorry doesn't begin to cover it. But I need you to know that I regret it. All of it. Lily studied her for a long moment. Why no? Why not 6 months ago when you testified? Because 6 months ago, I was still making excuses. Telling myself I was just following orders. That I didn't know how bad it would be. Evelyn's hands clenched on the table. But that was a lie. I knew. I knew what the council was planning, and I helped them anyway because I wanted power more than I wanted to be a good person. And now? Lily asked. Now I'm paying for it. As I should. Evelyn's eyes were wet. But I wanted you to know that watching you two together, seeing what you've built, how you've healed the territories, it's shown me what I could have been. What I should have been. You could still be that person, Lily said softly. Roman's head whipped toward her. Lily. I'm not saying we let her go, Lily clarified. But there are ways she could use her magic for good, even from here. Healing wards. Protection spells for the smaller packs. Things that would actually help people. Evelyn looked stunned. You would trust me with that? No, Lily said bluntly. But I believe in second chances. And I believe that people can change if they truly want to. She leaned forward. You helped destroy my family. You cursed my mate. You deserve everything that's happened to you. But if you're truly sorry, if you truly want to make amends, then prove it. Spend the rest of your life making the world better instead of worse. Tears spilled down Evelyn's cheeks. I will. I swear on my magic, I will. As they left the facility, Roman pulled Lily into his arms. You're too forgiving, he murmured. Maybe, but holding on to hate would only poison me. And I've wasted enough of my life living in darkness. She pulled back to meet his eyes. I want to focus on the light now. On what we're building together. Roman kissed her forehead. Have I mentioned today that you're the strongest person I know? Once or twice. Lily smiled. But I don't mind hearing it again. The new council chamber was nothing like the old one. Instead of a hierarchical semicircle, it was a round table, every seat equal, every voice valued. Representatives from all the major packs sat together, along with delegates from the smaller packs who'd never had a voice before. Roman sat at the head, with Lily beside him. Not behind him. Not standing at a distance. Beside him, as his equal. Let's begin, Roman said. First order of business, the trade agreement between the Northern and Eastern packs. What followed was 3 hours of discussion, negotiation, and occasionally heated debate. But unlike the old council, there was no manipulation. No hidden agendas. Just wolves trying to find solutions that worked for everyone. When Alpha Dane raised concerns about resource distribution, Lily suggested a rotating system that would ensure no pack was left without. When a smaller pack worried about being overwhelmed by their larger neighbors, Roman proposed protection treaties and regular check-ins. By the end, agreements had been reached. Compromises had been made. And everyone left feeling like they'd been heard. As the chamber emptied, Liam approached them with a grin. You two make a terrifyingly effective team, he said. That's the idea, Roman replied. Speaking of teams, Liam's expression grew serious. I've been getting reports from the Western Territories. There are rumors of a group calling themselves the Old Guard. Former council supporters who refuse to accept the new order. Roman's jaw tightened. How serious? Hard to say. Could be just angry wolves venting. Could be something more organized. Liam glanced at Lily. They're apparently fixated on the idea that the shadow bloodline should have stayed extinct. Of course they are, Lily said tiredly. Let me guess. They think I'm a threat to pack purity or some other nonsense? Something like that. Liam's eyes were sympathetic. I've got scouts monitoring the situation. If it escalates, we'll handle it. Keep me informed, Roman said. And Liam? If they even think about moving against Lily. I know, cousin. I'll make sure they regret it. That night, Lily stood in the rebuilt pack house, looking at the wall of names. Every member of the Shadow Pack who died in the massacre was listed there, carved into the stone. Her family's names were at the center: Jareth, Elena, Theo, surrounded by hundreds of others. She traced her father's name with her fingertips. "I did it," she whispered. "I brought them home. I gave them justice. I hope you're proud." A warmth spread through her chest, not the bond with Roman, but something else. Something that felt like approval. Like her parents were there, watching over her. "They are proud," Roman said softly, joining her. "How could they not be?" Lily leaned into him. "Do you think we're doing the right thing? Rebuilding everything? Trying to unite the packs?" "I think we're doing the only thing that matters, trying to make the world better than it was." Roman's arms wrapped around her. "And I think we're succeeding. There's still so much to do. The old guard. The remaining council sympathizers. The territories that still don't trust us. Then we'll handle them. Together." Roman turned her to face him. "But Lily, we don't have to fix everything right now. We're allowed to just live. To enjoy what we've built. Are we?" Lily smiled sadly. "It feels like every time we catch our breath, something new comes up. Then we need to steal our moments when we can." Roman's expression grew mischievous. "Which is why I have a surprise for you." "What kind of surprise?" "The kind where you stop worrying about politics and prophecies for one night." He took her hand. "Come with me." He led her to the highest point of the territory, a cliff overlooking the forest and the valley beyond. The moon was full, painting everything in silver light. And there, on the cliff's edge, was a blanket spread with food, wine, and candles. "You did this." Lily breathed. "I had help," Roman admitted. "Margaret and Liam conspired with me. But the idea was all mine." He pulled her down onto the blanket. "I wanted to give you something that's just us. No politics. No pack business. Just my mate and me under the stars." Lily felt tears prick her eyes. "I love you so much. I love you more." Roman poured them wine, handing her a glass. "To us. To everything we've overcome. And to everything we're going to build together." They clinked glasses and drank. Then Roman set his glass aside and reached into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. Lily's heart stopped. "Roman, I know we're already made it," he said quickly. "I know the bond is complete and permanent. But I wanted to give you something. A symbol of what you mean to me." He opened the box. Inside was a ring, simple silver with a moonstone that matched her circlet. But carved into the band were two wolves, running side by side. "It was your mother's," Roman said softly. "Your father gave it to her on their mating day. Margaret saved it along with the circlet." He took Lily's hand. "I know I can never replace what you lost. But I promise to spend every day trying to give you a future as beautiful as the past you were robbed of." Lily couldn't speak. She could only nod as he slipped the ring onto her finger. "You've given me everything," she finally managed. "A home. A purpose. A family. Love." She cupped his face. "I was nothing before you found me. Just a ghost, going through the motions." "You were never nothing," Roman said fiercely. "You were always everything. I was just lucky enough to recognize it." He kissed her then, deep and sweet and full of promise. When they broke apart, Lily looked out at the territory spread before them, the forests she'd helped heal, the pack house where her people were gathering, the future they were building together. "What are you thinking?" Roman asked. "I'm thinking about how far we've come. How much has changed." Lily turned to him with a smile. 6 months ago, I was a maid who thought she had no future. Now I'm a princess with a kingdom to rebuild and a mate who believes I can do anything." "You can," Roman said simply. "We can," Lily corrected. "Together." "Together," Roman echoed. They sat there as the moon climbed higher, talking about everything and nothing. About their plans for the territory. About the pups they might have someday. About the life they were going to build. And for the first time since she'd woken up in that healer's cottage 3 years ago with no memories and no hope, Lily felt completely, utterly whole. 3 years later, the shadow territory thrived. What had started as 43 wolves had grown to over 200. The pack house had been expanded twice to accommodate everyone. Schools had been built. Training grounds. Gardens. A healing center where Margaret taught young wolves with magical abilities. And in the center of it all, in the private quarters of the pack house, Lily stood holding a bundle wrapped in soft blue fabric. "He has your eyes," she said softly, gazing down at the tiny face of her son. Roman stood beside her, his arm around her waist, staring at their child with an expression of such profound love that it made Lily's heart ache. "He's perfect," Roman whispered. "He's absolutely perfect." Their son Jareth, named for Lily's father, yawned and made a tiny fist, already showing signs of the strength he'd inherit from both bloodlines. "He's going to be a handful," Lily said with a smile. "Good. The world needs more warriors." Roman kissed the top of Lily's head. "And he'll have the best teacher. His mother, who survived hell and came out stronger. And his father, who changed the world because he believed in doing what was right instead of what was easy." They stood there, the three of them, bathed in the afternoon sunlight streaming through the window. A knock at the door interrupted the moment. "Come in," Lily called. Margaret entered, her face glowing with joy. "I heard he arrived. May I?" Lily carefully handed Jareth to his grandmother, watching as Margaret's eyes filled with tears. "Oh, he's beautiful," Margaret breathed. Jareth and Elena would be so proud. Their grandson, heir to two great bloodlines, born into a world at peace. "Not completely at peace," Roman said. "The old guard still causes trouble. There are packs that resist the changes. But the foundation is solid," Margaret replied. "You've built something that will last. Something worth fighting for." She looked at Lily. "Your mother saw this, you know. In her final vision. She saw you standing here, holding your son, surrounded by pack and love. She knew you'd survive. That you'd thrive." Lily felt tears spill down her cheeks. "I wish she could have met him." "She has," Margaret said gently. "In all the ways that matter, your parents are here. Watching over you. Proud of everything you've become." A commotion outside drew their attention. Through the window, they could see wolves gathering in the courtyard, representatives from various packs, all arriving for the naming ceremony. Roman squeezed Lily's shoulder. "Ready?" "Ready," Lily said. The ceremony was held at sunset, as tradition dictated. Hundreds of wolves gathered in the courtyard, forming a circle around Roman, Lily, and their son. Alphas, betas, omegas, all equal in this moment of celebration. Roman held Jareth high, presenting him to the assembled packs. "This is Jareth Marcus Shadowmere," he declared, his voice carrying to every corner. "Son of Liliana and Roman. Heir to the shadow and royal bloodlines. May he grow strong. May he lead with wisdom. May he protect those who cannot protect themselves. May he honor the fallen," the crowd responded in unison. "May he build the future." Lily stepped forward, placing her hand on her son's chest. Silver light glowed beneath her palm, a blessing, a protection, a promise that this child would grow up safe and loved. "I name him Protector of the Weak," she said. "Defender of justice. Bridge between packs." "We witness," the crowd responded. One by one, the alphas approached, each offering their own blessing. Dane placed a wolf's tooth necklace around Jareth's tiny neck, a promise of strength. A visiting healer placed herbs in his cradle, a promise of health. Margaret whispered a seer's blessing, a promise of wisdom. And through it all, Lily felt the weight of her parents' legacy settle into something lighter. Not a burden to carry, but a gift to pass forward. That night, after the celebrations had wound down and Jareth had finally fallen asleep, Lily and Roman stood on their balcony overlooking the territory. "Can you believe it?" Lily said softly. 3 years ago, I was scrubbing floors. Now I'm a mother. A princess. A leader. You were always those things, Roman said. You just needed to remember. No, Lily turned to face him. I needed you to help me remember. To see me when I couldn't see myself. Roman pulled her close. We saved each other. That's what mates do. Is this what you imagined? Lily asked. When your mother told you about the prophecy, did you think it would turn out like this? Honestly, I imagined it would be harder. More tragic. Roman's smile was soft. But you exceeded every expectation. You didn't just survive, you flourished. You took everything that was meant to destroy you and turned it into strength. We did that, Lily corrected. You and me. Together. Together, Roman agreed. They stood there in comfortable silence, watching the moon rise over the forest. Do you think he'll face the same challenges we did? Lily asked. The prejudice. The fear. The people who want to tear down what we're building. Probably, Roman said honestly. Change is slow, and there will always be those who resist it. But he won't face it alone. He'll have us. He'll have his pack. And he'll have the legacy you've created, proof that different bloodlines, different strengths, can unite instead of divide. Lily leaned into him. Sometimes I still can't believe this is real. That I get to have this. You, Jareth. A home. Believe it, Roman murmured. You've earned every bit of happiness you have. And there's so much more to come. Like what? Roman's hand drifted to her stomach, where a tiny flutter of new life was just beginning, a secret they hadn't shared yet, even with each other. But the bond revealed everything. Lily's eyes widened. You knew. I suspected. Roman's grin was enormous. Another pup? Another pup, Lily confirmed, laughing through sudden tears. Are you happy? Happy doesn't begin to cover it. Roman swept her into his arms, spinning her around. You've given me everything I never knew I wanted. A mate who challenges me. A son who will change the world. A family. A purpose. You gave me those things first, Lily said when he set her down. You saw me when I was invisible. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. You loved me when I didn't think I deserved it. You always deserved it, Roman said fiercely. From the moment I saw you on your knees, scrubbing that floor, I knew you were extraordinary. I just had to help you see it too. Lily kissed him, slow and deep and full of promise. When they pulled apart, she rested her forehead against his. I love you, she whispered. My mate. My king. My everything. I love you, Roman replied. My princess. My strength. My fate. And as the stars came out above them, Lily realized that this was the ending her mother had seen. The happy ending that had seemed impossible when she was hiding in the servants' quarters, believing she was nothing. She'd been lost. But she'd been found. She'd been broken. But she'd been healed. She'd been forgotten. But she'd been remembered. And now, standing in the territory her family had built, holding the hand of the man who'd saved her, carrying new life within her, surrounded by pack and purpose and love. Lily was finally, completely, irrevocably home. Oh my goodness, you guys. We made it. From maid to princess. From invisible to unforgettable. From lost to found. I'm sobbing. What did you think of this journey? Tell me your favorite moment in the comments. And if this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button and share this with everyone who loves a good werewolf romance. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Until the next story, keep believing in second chances, true love, and the strength we find when we refuse to give up. Love you all.